So we could start the Monk in the Middle podcast by reciting the Invocation Mantras for our Srimad Bhagavatam discussion. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Narom Chaivam Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Dirayet Nasta Priya Swabhadreshu Nityam Bhagavati Sevaya Bhagavate Uttamas Loke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So last few mornings we discussed about the introduction sa Bhagavad Gita and also history paano napunta yung conversation from Pariksit Maharaj and Sukadev Goswami because he was cursed, Pariksit Maharaj, to die in 7 days. Then he received the knowledge from his spiritual teacher, Sukadev Goswami, and all the demigods was there as well, listening to that transcendental conversation. Andun din yung mga senior na mga devotees, including his father, Vyasadev, kung sino yung nagsulat ng Srimad Bhagavatam. He was also the incarnation of Krishna, but still, he heard the Srimad Bhagavatam. Then, one of the students in that conversation, Sutta Goswami, so don't be confused, si Suka Goswami, ibig sabihin ng Suka is parrot. Then, yung isang student niya, isang disciple niya, is Sutta Goswami, he went to Naimisaranya, where thousands of sages or saintly persons were gathered there to perform 1,000 years na study ng Srimad Bhagavatam or to perform sacrifices for the better good ng humanity. So, andun sa conversation, from that conversation, may another conversation. That will be yung mga questions na na-raised a few days ago. Because yung mga naka-attend dun sa conversations ni Sutta Goswami, those sages, the saintly persons, have 6 questions. So first question they ask is, what is yung for the better ng society, the whole humanity, ano daw yung most beneficial? That's the first question. Second question, and all sa lahat ng scriptures. Sabi nga, if you have time to study and read all the scriptures, revealed scriptures, meron din mga unrevealed pa, it will take 35 years. So we don't have that long time to study them or even read them or even attention span. So ano daw yung nectar, ano daw yung essence para magets mo yung life? Having one scripture. Then third question, si Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, bakit siya nag-take as human form? And pinanganak siya with his parent, Devaki and Vasudev. Anong reason? And yung fourth question naman, sabi niya, si Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, tinatanong nila, maraming incarnation si Krishna to perform his pastimes. Or tinatawag na Lila Avatar. Lila is pastime, Avatar is incarnation. So, sabi ng mga sages, please tell us the stories ng mga Lila Avatars na yun. Ano yung mga adventures? Yung fifth question, that's the fifth question. Ayan. Kasama yun 1 and 2, yung narration ng ano. Yeah, sorry. Lila Avatars and Purusha Avatars, dalawa yon. Dalawang klaseng incarnation ni Krishna. Then, sabi niya dun sa sixth question, ito na yung di-discuss natin ngayon. Ang tinanong ni Krishna, at tinanong ng mga sages sa Sutta Goswami, nalito ako doon, Sutta Goswami, after ni Krishna mag-descend dito sa material world, he comes back to the spiritual world. Ngayon, pag bumabalik siya sa spiritual world, saan napupunta yung religiousness? Paano na may maintain? So in the verse 20, we stopped in the verse 20 yesterday. Pinag-usapan dito and in-emphasize na si Krishna maraming avatars. Puro siya ang lila avatars. Ay, yung mga incarnation niya. So, sinabi dito na sobrang importante yung incarnation ni Krishna nung si Krishna mismo yung bumaba. Hindi siya nag-perform ng ibang pastime or as different personality. Si Krishna himself bumaba as si Krishna mismo. And kasama niya yung brother niya, si Lord Balaram. Expansion niya yun. And gusto i-emphasize sa mga sages na i-narrate yung pastime ni Krishna as Krishna himself. Kasi ang dami sa humanity na nagsasabi that they could be God. They could practice something, they could perform some mystic powers, then magiging God na sila. They could receive a mantra, they could levitate, or they could perform great austerities of yoga and asanas. They could be God. That last snare ni Maya, yung sinabi natin, ng illusion, oh yeah, a spiritual person, have this lifestyle, very strict sa rules and regulation. Si illusion will still creeps in, thinking oneself na siya yung God because lamang siya sa ibang tao. May onti siyang nakukuhang mystic powers or may nakukuha siyang ibang um, advancement physically or mystically. He will think na God siya. And maraming tao would be so foolish and they could use this charm, mysticism, and all to receive and have a lot of disciples or followers. Maraming gumagawa nito in the past hanggang ngayon. And minsan may onti knowledge sila sa Vedas, pero since wala silang mga spiritual teachers na belong sa guru and disciple na bona fide na line, they would create many places ng mga different groups. Iti-twist and turn lang nila yung mga rules and regulations sa Vedas. Maraming groups, they will have a commune and the rules and regulation there is almost zero to almost less to none. And meron silang mga free sexual intercourse for everyone. Drugs are legal, intoxications are legal. So they're twisting yung Vedas, yung Vedic scriptures just for followers. And they will claim na sila si God. Pero here, kaya tinanong ng mga sages yun kay Sutta Goswami for it to be really narrated. Paano ba mag-incarnate si Krishna? Ano yung mga pastime niya? Krishna himself, when he was born, we will discuss that further, pero in the purport, when he was born in his Vishnu form, four-arm form si Krishna na pinanganak. May mga jewelries siya, may mga alangkars or decoration, may mga jewelries and armors. So from the time that he was born, he's expressing to everyone. He is also giving signals that he appeared as God already because he is. Hindi siya yung nag-perform ng austerities, hindi siya yung nag-perform ng mga mantras and magiging God siya. No. Since the day one, he was born. When he was born, God kagad siya. Only by his parents na nag-wish sa kanya, could you show yung human-like, katulad ng humans na form as Krishna. Kasi maraming adventures that time eh. So, kailangan nila i-hide na si God, si Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was born out of Devaki and Vasudev. For the purpose ng pastime. Kaya lila avatars, pastimes, to perform the pastimes. So yes, kapatid niya si Balaram. You can call him also Baladeva. In the recent incarnation, he is Nityananda or Nitai. And from him, doon nag-expand din na nag-expand where Lord Vishnu came, the three Vishnus. So, Atong detail na mga incarnation na 'to, the sages wanted to hear. So, sa mga saintly person dun sa Naimi that's the place, Naimi, they wanted to hear this. Kasi people are just fooling each other. So ngayon, alam ng mga tao anong standard 'pag may avatar si Krishna, si God. Nasa scriptures, so that's the three authority, nasa scriptures, sastra, nasa alam ng mga saintly persons, sadhus, kasi they're studying the sastra, they're protecting the sastra, and the gurus. The gurus are passing it down from different generation to generation. So this authority will confirm the genuinity of the avatars of Krishna. So no one could claim na incarnations na rin ni God. 'Pag pumunta ka sa Quiapo, maraming magsasabi nun. Kulot-kulot pa sila ano. So no one could really claim that they are incarnation if they're not in the sastra and they're not considered and acknowledged by the gurus and the saintly person, the sadhus. So in the first 21, sobrang importante na ito. It was said, knowing well that the age of Kali has already begun, we are assembled here in this holy place to hear at great length the transcendental message of Godhead, and in this way perform sacrifice. So it was discussed previously and even last night by Navadip Chandra, the four yugas. This is the ages. So this material world, may mga different phases siya, parang moon. Diba? May mga phases yung moon. Half moon, crescent moon, tapos may full moon, tapos may new moon. Yung material world may ganun din, yung ages. So may apat na yon. That is Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. So itong mga ages na to, it was also described as the golden era, the silver, the bronze, and the silver, the copper, walang bronze, copper and iron. Yung qualities ng mga tao, mas greater din dito sa Satya Yuga, sa Treta, sa Dwapara. Tapos sa Kali Yuga, siyempre, pa-degrade na pa-degrade yun. Hanggang after ng Kali Yuga will be annihilation, destruction ng material world, partial or whole. So, depende. Tapos babalik ulit sa Satya Yuga. So, in Satya Yuga, again, the golden age, yung time ng body nila, they could live for 100,000 years. The sizes ng mga tao na yun, mas malaki syempre sila. They're mostly in mood of goodness. And to perform, to have the self-realization, they should meditate. That's their form of self-realization or liberation. Meditation. And yung dharma or way of performing the dharma ng service nila is meditation. For how long? Meron sila 100,000 years. Kailangan sila mag-meditate ng 10,000 years. 1/10 ng buhay nila to have self-realization. So in the Treta Yuga, they have 10,000 years yung lifespan ng isang tao doon. Yung kanilang form ng self-realization is through sacrifices, fire sacrifice. So that is, yung fire na yon is the tongue of Lord Vishnu. They're feeding, they're offering ghee, fruits, and this is very opulent. Lahat ng mga gamit dito, mga golds. Pero bawal ulitin. So after they use that, they will discard it. And sometimes yung mga sacrifices na to, that opulent, yung mga offerings every day, it will last for years. So that is the form of their self-realization or liberation that time. O tinatawag na Yuga Dharma. In Dwapara Yuga, their lifespan is 1,000 years. Then the form of their liberation is deity worship. The altar, doing the puja, deity worship. Kaya nakikita niyo previously, pati mga history natin, maraming mga temples, naabutan na ano yan, um, mga deity forms. So, ayun yung naaabot ng mga ancient history natin, mga artifacts natin. So, they could find 5,000 years old mga deities, ni Lord Nishingadev and all. Mga temples, it was established before. Yung Angkor Wat, alam ko, hindi ko lang, ang pagkakatanda ko, either transition ng Dwapara to Kali Yuga yun. That's the main source of self-realization. Doing dito worship. Unfortunately, sabay yun. Swerte tayo. And unfortunate then. We are in the Kali Yuga, the last stage of the eras, the ages. The lifespan will be around 100 years. Diba? Swerte tayo pag umabot ng 100 years. Yung mga lolo natin, ngayon medyo pa-degrade na pa-degrade. Abot yun sa end ng Kali Yuga na 10 years lang yung age ng mga tao. Yung full-blown na Kali Yuga, it is described in Srimad Bhagavatam. So yung future, yung prediction ng future, andun na sa scriptures na yung mga pandemic, yung mga earthquakes, yung mga vulkan, lahat ng mga miseries lumalabas. Habang patagal ng patagal, mas lumalala yung Kali Yuga. Kali Yuga is the Iron Age. It means the age where hypocrisy and quarrels are there. Quarrels will be maliliit na bagay. People will fight it over and kill each other because of small quarrels. Diba? Hindi mo lalayo yun. In relationship, nangyayari yun. Diba? Nilike um, yung asawa yung nilike nung guy yung picture doon sa Instagram. Tapos nakita ng babae. It will be a big fight. So, in other things, small things will be a big reason for a large quarrel. Kaya age of quarrel ngayon, lahat pinag-aawayan. Lupa, di ba? Kung meron kayong kamag-anak na sa angkan nyo, na may namatay na mas matatanda, ancestors, tapos nung pinamana na yung mga lupa, kung meron kayong mga kamag-anak na peaceful nila na hati-hati yung lupa, walang nag-away, raise your hand. Kasi, history-wise, kahit hanggang ngayon, tingnan mo yung mga magkakamag-anak. Pag may namatay, pag naghatian na ng mana, nag-aaway-away sila. Palagi. So, kung swerte kayo, you're so fortunate if wala nag-away-away doon sa pamana. Unless wala talaga mamanahin. Pero even history, Mahabharat was that was one of the reason. Siyempre, pag pinag-awayan naman nila doon is the emperorship, kung sino maging emperor na buong mundo. So, it is also the age of hypocrisy. Even those leaders, they will preach, they will teach something, pero the way of their living is different. They will fight against, the leaders will fight against intoxication or drugs, but their family will be involved in drugs. The religious leaders will preach something like this, but they will be involved in abuse. So the hypocrisy is there, prominent in this age. People don't have integrity. So, given in Kali Yuga, the timeline, the lifespan will be just 100 years. Yung attention ng mga tao is so short. And a lot of anomalies na meron sa paligid. Krishna gave the most easiest way for self-realization and liberation. And the most sweetest as well. Kaya very fortunate and unfortunate yung Kali Yuga. Unfortunate because of the situation around. Kali Yuga will last for 400,000 more years, 420 something years. 420,000 years. Nasa 5,000 years pa lang tayo ng Kali Yuga. And it will degrade and degrade and degrade. Pero Krishna gave yung process na liberation and self-realization na napaka-easy for this lifetime. Even the demigods, pag alam nilang Kali Yuga na, they will go down to material world for them to perform. Kasi ito yung pinakamabilis and madali. There is the Yuga Dharma, Sankirtan, or chanting the holy names of Krishna. And the chanting of the holy names of Krishna is very sweet, sweeter than the previous ones, the meditation, the sacrifices, and the deity worship. Kasi only by chanting Krishna's name, one could have, um, could perfect his life, his spiritual life, and also could experience the Madhurya Ras or conjugal love for Krishna. Kung natandaan niyo yung 5 rasas natin. Only this age could have that chance to reach Madhurya Ras. But of course, sabi nga ni Nabodit, kailangan pa rin natin ng deity worship in this age to balance. Pero by chanting of Krishna's name, one could perfect his life. So it was mentioned here, hearing and chanting of the holy name, the fame, the pastime of Krishna. So Srimad Bhagavatam is hearing and chanting Krishna's pastimes, fame, and yung mga glories ni Krishna. So that's part ng Kali Yuga. Yung self-realization or way to cross the material ocean papunta sa Krishna consciousness or sa Vrindavan, sa Viraj, back home, back to Godhead, is kasama doon is chanting Krishna's name and hearing yung mga pastime and glories niya through Bhagavad Gita. So doon pala sa mga new listeners or nasa Zoom natin, this is called Srimad Bhagavatam. It's a series of 12 cantos of books. This version, yung mga small books, they have 44 books na ganito. Itong complete na Srimad Bhagavatam set. If you want to catch up, you can get the actual copy or you can send the ebook or link ng email so you can catch up with the readings and the study. So, kaya importante yung Yuga Dharma na yun because Krishna said kung ano yung way of liberation this lifetime, way of self-realization. If one does the other things, focusing on that, it is just a waste of time. No one could meditate in the forest now. Kung ano yung describe ni Krishna dun sa Bhagavad Gita. Kasi yung Mahabharat or yung Bhagavad Gita rin, nasa transition siya ng Dwapara Yuga sa Kali Yuga. Nasa gitna siya nun. Kaya sabi ni Arjuna nun, alis na ako dito sa war. Mag-meditate na lang ako sa forest. So, malayo-malayo na dun sa age na Satya Yuga. Sinabi ni Krishna, hindi na bagay yan ngayon. It's not meant for you. Una-una, iba yung duties and responsibilities mo. At the same time, it's not the Yuga now. Yuga Dharma now. So what could not perfect that kind of liberation? Kasi sabi rin ni Krishna, kailangan mo ng high standard in that meditation. Should be in the forest, not so elevated place. Meron ka dapat deer skin, kung saan ka upo. You should be sitting in perfect still, not disturbed, not just for a few hours, or few minutes or few hours, not just for a few days, but years and years. In Satya Yuga, to perfect it, should have 10,000 years. And yung life natin ngayon, di naabot doon. So sabi sa scripture, it's just a waste of time doing a different sacrifices or different form of meditation in different yugas. So this yuga is bagay para dito sa Kali Yuga is chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And if you go sa text 22, Hare Krishna. Is the sound and audio sound and the video clear? So yes. So if you see sa Srimad Bhagavatam, the text 22, since we are in the Kali Yuga, it is described as the ocean of misery. Yeah, I'm back. Could you hear me, Jinky Mataji? Yes, awesome. So, given that we are now in the Kali Yuga, it is described as the ocean of material existence, the ocean of misery. Bakit ocean? Kasi ocean is so vast. Ang hirap kung nandun ka, lumalangoy ka sa ocean. It's hard for you to cross one country to another country. Kasi ocean yon. Hindi ka makakalangoy basta-basta. Large waves, different temperatures, different weathers, ang dami tribulations. For one to cross this material existence, papunta sa spiritual world. Papunta sa pa-exit sa samsara or birth and death. If you're just swimming alone. It is described here in the 22nd verse. We think that we have met your goodness by the will of the providence, just so that we may accept you as a captain of the ship for those who desire to cross the difficult ocean of Kali, which deteriorates all the good qualities of a human being. They're glorifying their spiritual teacher, Sutta Goswami, na by Krishna's mercy, Krishna's arrangement, the Supreme Personality of Godhead's arrangement, na na-receive nila si Sutta Goswami. And i-accept nila as the captain of the ship. Kasi, in the Srimad Bhagavatam, it is mentioned that this body that we have now is like a boat. It is a vehicle. Ito yung magagamit natin vehicle to cross that ocean. Para matapos na yung material existence, you can go back to God. Hindi ka na kailangan mag-birth and death dito sa material world. So that ship, ano kailangan ng isang boat, ng isang ship? Kailangan ng captain. Kasi hindi mo alam kung saan ka pupunta. Yung captain, alam niya. Alam niya yung kaya niya i-navigate. Kaya niya masabi sa mga crew kung saan pupunta. The captain of the ship is the spiritual master. Kasi he is guided by the scriptures, sadhus, and sastra. And meron din siyang guru. Us not knowing what's in the sea. Anong direction, anong nangyayari. But if we have the spiritual master, we have the captain sa buhay natin. He's our guide, he's our mentor, because he has seen the truth, he has seen the light. And us is always in the darkness. So for that light to be passed down, kailangan ipasa sa disciple or sa student. So when one wants to cross a large ocean, he requires a strong boat. That is a body. It is said that this human form of life is a good boat by which one can cross the ocean of nescience. In the human form of life, one can obtain the guidance of a good navigator, the spiritual master. One also gets a favorable wind by the mercy of Krishna. So that is wind is coming from Krishna. Those instructions, those what's happening in our life, that is the wind. How to navigate that wind, that boat, kailangan ng spiritual master. So that instructions is coming from Krishna in the form of the wind. And yung katulong natin to guide us is the spiritual master. And that wind is the instructions of Krishna. The human body is the boat. The instructions of Lord Krishna are the favorable winds. And the spiritual master is the navigator. The spiritual master knows well how to adjust the sails to catch the winds favorably and steer the boat to its destination. If, however, one does not take advantage of this opportunity, one wastes the human form of life. Wasting time and life in this way is the same as committing suicide. So, being in this human form of life is very rare. So, kung napapansin niyo sa paligid niyo, lalo na pag nakatira dito sa forest, ang daming form of life in different species. Hindi lang tao. Kasi andyan yung mga animals, nakikita mo sila, they're forms of life. Mga souls din sila. One or the other, naging humans na yung mga yan. Everyone. So may mga insects, may mga living things, may mga trees, yung mga non-moving living beings, tsaka mga moving living beings. So ano sila, form of life sila. They will need to be born and die in different stages ng life species of life, bago sila maging tao. And this human form of life is the only one that is capable for self-realization. Di ka magkakaroon ng self-realization kung aso yung body mo. You have to be born as a human being. And sobrang rare magkaroon na itong chance na maging human. Kasi ang dami nating karma to be spent sa different life species natin. So if one doesn't use this human form of life for self-realization, it is just a waste of time. Sabi nga, committing suicide. So balik ka uli sa balik ka yung body, yung soul natin, balik uli sa birth and death. Spend time in the heaven, spend time in the hell. Pagbalik sa spirit sa material world, spend time siya from the smallest species of life. Gradually going up. Gradually from microbes, from microorganisms, bacteria, hanggang mag-climb up siya to smaller insects, di ba? Hanggang maging mammal siya uli, tapos ilang beses siya ipapanganak doon, depende sa karmas niya. Hanggang ma-reach niya uli yung human being. It will be so sad if one doesn't perfect this life, tapos ipanganak siya sa latter part ng Kali Yuga. Yung sobrang lalala na, sobrang degraded na yung humanity. Na wala nang halos Krishna consciousness noon. Or totally none, yung end ng Kali Yuga. So that will be really sad to be born in that era where wala na yung mga devotees, wala nang chanting.
Ah,
So the main goal is,
babalik pa ako dito sa
yan. So the main goal is, don't waste this human form of life and use yung boat na to cross the ocean of material existence. How? Having a captain of the ship. Pag may barko ka nakita, tas walang captain doon, liligaw-ligaw lang siya. So having the captain of the ship as the spiritual master, navigator, because alam niya yung mga winds, favorable winds na galing kay Krishna. He know which wind to catch para ma-sail niya to cross over this material existence. So having a good captain, having the favorable wind, what it represents is yung this material ocean na to, it will be just like that water reservoir, napakaliit lang na hoofprint ng isang cow. Hoofprint, yung paa ng cow, pag tumapak siya sa lupa, tapos umulan, nagkatubig yon, magiging ganun na lang kaliit. It will be easier to cross. Parang hakbangan mo lang siya, di ba? So in comparison sa material ocean, if you don't have the captain and the favorable wind of Krishna. So magiging gano'n na lang siya if one becomes Krishna conscious. And ano pa yung mga favorable wind na yon? Ayun yung instruction ni Krishna through Srimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. So these main two scriptures, that is the words from Krishna, his pastimes, his lessons na gusto nila ituro sa humanity. At the same time, ayun yung wind na yon. Kasi the spiritual master could guide the disciple, the student, how to follow yung Krishna consciousness. And it will be easier to cross that path. No need to have the fortune telling kung ano mangyayari in the future. It is said in the scriptures here. A list of the anomalies for this age is given in the 12th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We will discuss this in the future, but basically yung end part ng Kali Yuga is really worst. So we mentioned a while ago, in Hatha Yuga, matataas yung age ng span nila and malalaki rin yung mga tao nun. Paliit na paliit na ngayon. So, in the history makikita mo maraming mga status na malalaki, mga establishment na malalaki because they were so big back then. So, palit na paliit. In the end stage ng Kali Yuga, sobrang lilit na lang mga tao. And 10 years na lang yung life nila. And they don't have vegetation. They will have to give birth para may makain sila. Ayun yung kakainin nila. And they will live underground because everything is unlivable, even the air. Everyone will be demoniac. And there will be no Krishna consciousness anymore. So those are really the few signs ng Kali Yuga, which is yung iba nangyayari ngayon. You go to other places, they eat fetuses. It's Kali Yuga. Back then, yung Satya Yuga, it was a big news na in the future, kakainin ng tao yung cow. So, ganun yung thinking nila. Talaga, in the future, sa Kali Yuga, kakain sila ng cow. Kasi very religious, very spiritual yung lifestyle nila. But pagdating ngayon, if you would see yung prediction, hindi na siya prediction, yung mangyayari, yung vision na mangyayari sa end of Kali Yuga, slowly nangyayari ngayon with all the pandemic, paano nagkakagulo yung mga society because of the demoniac leaders, bakit may mga pandemic because of their irregulation ng buhay nila, ng diet nila. Diba? In the first place, if people are just eating, honoring prasadam, or even plant-based food, no pandemic wouldn't be there. It may be created by humans or accidental by nature, but same, it is the collective karma because of the activities of human. The main cause is material nature. The secondary cause, kung sino yung gumawa nun, doesn't matter at all. Kasi everyone is affected. It's a pandemic. So it's happening. One could not say na hindi totoo yung mga pandemic kasi nasa scriptures nangyayari talaga. It's a part of Kali Yuga. And the way how to cross that is the Yuga Dharma Sankirtan, chanting of the holy name, having a spiritual master as the captain of the boat, and yung favorable wind ni Krishna. So, Radhacharan, pwede bang perform ko yung Krishna consciousness or spiritual life na solo ako? Na ako lang mag-isa. Kasi ayokong may nakikinig ako sa authority. Or gusto ko ma-experience lahat para matutunan ko. Ayoko yung nakikinig lang. So may mga ganun tao that they want to experience things before they learn. Swerte yung iba that they would experience certain things in their lives para ma-realize nila yung bagay-bagay for them to really get serious sa spiritual life. Yung iba, meron sila near-death experience para malaman nila na temporary lang buhay. Ano yung pinagkakaguluhan ng mind ko, yung pinagpo-focusan niya ngayon. Pero things are temporary. I need to find the reason bakit ako nandito. Not a lot will have that opportunity. And yung iba could study the Vedas alone, could travel everywhere, learning different scriptures. Yung iba pinag-mix-mix nila yung mga ibang practices. Gusto nila kunin yung best dito, yung best dito. Or being so sentimental, part ng Kali Yuga yon. All the oceans of emotion. Yung Filipino, oceans of emotion yan. Diba? When I was younger, nakikita ko sa television, may days na comedy yung palabas sa TV, tapos may action or may adventure. Ngayon, di na. Tanghali pa lang, meron ng drama-rama. Diba? Hanggang gabi na yon. Punta mo punta mo yung Netflix, lahat drama, lahat love stories, dramas, mistress. Diba? Lahat ganun yung nangyayari. Oceans of emotion. Gusto ng mga tao yung mga ganun. So, ayun yung pinapasok nila sa consciousness nila. So, what to expect? Anong lumalabas? Ganun din. Yung kung paano mag-away-away yung mga tao, kala mo teleserye lang. No, kala you guys there. The ocean of emotion. Kasi, they want to spend their life, yung mga lives nila, into something. The question is it meaningful? Diba? Kasi yun yung stimulus nila sa paligid eh. So, ayun yung lalabas sa kanila. So, one is just wasting time. Just trying to maggawa ng mga trials and errors sa paligid niya. May makikita ka hindi ibig sabihin tumanda na yung isang tao, kahit may tungkod na siya, hindi na siya makalakad, na self-realized na siya. It doesn't mean like that. A lot of people are growing old, bitter in life. Di ba may mga matatanda masungit? Parang it doesn't give them the life that yung life doesn't give them sweetness bandang huli. Bitter ng whole life. Galit sila sa tao, galit sila sa mga masasaya. Doesn't mean na yung maturity will come with age. No. Same thing as spirituality. Wouldn't come with age. So what could spend lifetimes after lifetimes hulaan kung paano, mag-speculate paano yung spiritual life. Because we have a limited way of perceptions and understanding, just like the frog in the well. So yung frog in the well, may isang frog na nakatira sa isang balon, sa isang well. And all throughout his life, thinking yung mundo niya, yung part ng reservoir of water na yun, yung tubig na yun. Then one night, may pumasok na isang frog din. Si frog number 2. And he was telling stories kay frog number 1. Na, oh, I've been outside this well. Doon ako lumaki. And napakalaki yung mga reservoir of water doon. Iba-iba. Iba-ibang form. May tubig na tabang, may maalat, di ba? May flowing river. Tapos may mga waves yung ibang reservoir of water. Then this frog is number 1. Talaga? Gaano kalaki yung water reservoir na yan? Kasi laki ba nung well ko dito? Di ba yung mga frog na malobo yung ano nila? Sabi nung frog number 2, no, hindi mo maiintindihan. Sobrang laki dito, hindi mo mabibilang. Hindi nga, 2 times ba, 3 times ba ng ganitong water dito? Kasi out of perception na niya yun, all throughout, ito lang yung thinking niya. Hindi mo talaga naiintindihan, frog number 1. Unlimited. More than sa mabibilang mo yung multiplication ng tubig dito dun sa water reservoir sa labas. Ganito ba? So, gusto niyong intindihin out of his context of understanding niya hanggang sumabog na yung frog number 1. Our perception sa life, to understand life is so limited. We want to compare everything sa na-experience natin. Yung iba nga gusto nila makita yung mga tao na based on their experience eh. Ay, ako nga ganito eh. Papunta ka pa lang, pabalik na ako. Feeling nila yung path na tinahak nila. Lahat ng path ng mga tao doon pupunta. I learned life by this. Diba? Nag-fail muna ako ng maraming beses bago ako natuto. So, kailangan ma-experience mo yun. So, sobrang close-minded, sobrang limited mag-isip yung mga tao. In small petty things. Even the school system was built for certain people. Hindi mo masabing lahat ng tao build dun sa school system na yon. Just like the artists. Diba? Kinigradean yung mga bata on, how do you call this? Academics, logical thinking. Pero yung intelligence on arts would not be graded. So the child will grow up thinking na hindi siya smart. So hindi siya pare-pareho. What more? Using that kind of thinking in understanding life and understanding Krishna consciousness and even understanding Krishna, we have very limited brain. Our senses is so limited as well. Hindi natin marinig nga yung sinasabi dun sa first block outside our house, 1 block outside our house. Yung pinakamalapit sa eyes natin, hindi natin makita. Yung ang pilik mata mo hindi mo makita. Yung pinakamalapit. Our hearing is very limited. Mag-iba lang na ng language, di mo marinig, di mo maintindihan. Yeah. So, we have imperfect senses, we have limited brain for us to understand this. So, what do we need? We cannot do it alone by experience self-realization. One could just die not realizing things by experiencing or experimenting. One should have the captain of the ship. Kasi those knowledge is coming from his teacher, that galing sa teacher niya, sa spiritual teacher niya, na nanggaling kay Krishna. It was passed down. So that's the power of having the captain of the ship. Kasi you could cross the material ocean. So how to be the student? Sobrang importante yon. Is to serve and follow the captain of the ship. He will give you instructions and advices based on the instructions ni Krishna. Kasi everyone is unique. Hindi yung instructions or yung way kung paano sinil ng captain yung isang boat, ganun din sa ibang tao. No. Iba-iba ng conditioning, iba-iba ng personality and character. So, iba-iba ng specific instructions. Siyempre, may general instructions. So, yung wind, sasaloyin mo um, nung, para sa masail. So, ganun din yung instructions ng guru. That's why one should have a living guru, a living spiritual teacher. Because they will know you. They know the disciple, the student. They could guide you. Then, one could live a perfect life by crossing that material ocean. Rada Sharan, paano ko mahanap naman yung captain of the ship? Siyempre, mayroong mga bona fide teachers. It is also mentioned by Krishna. He even lived that life as an example. Kailangan may teacher siya na galing dun sa bona fide parampara system or guru and disciple line. He's the master of the senses. Hindi siya kinokontrol ng senses niya. Siya yung nagkocontrol sa senses. Siya yung may underseeing the senses. Kaya tinatawag na Swami. Goswami. Go is senses. Swami is master. The Goswamis or Swami. So he is well versed in the scriptures also kasi alam niya yung winds. Alam niya yung favorable wind. Alam niya kung paano i-guide. So one should be in a relationship with the spiritual teacher, spiritual master. Some says you need to find a spiritual teacher, but the other saintly persons are saying, no, the spiritual teacher is actually looking for you, finding you in this material world. You're eternally connected. The question is our free will. Are we willing to be guided by spiritual teacher? Or are we resistant? Because we just want to follow our mind. Dalawa lang naman yan. We follow our mind with its dictation, or we follow the instructions of Krishna through the spiritual master. So, I don't know with you, ilang percentage ng mind mo na best friend mo siya and ilang percentage na enemy mo siya. If mas maraming best friend mo yung mind mo, siguro mga 90%, raise your hand. Patingin nga. One could have different personalities. So, favorite ko when I was in a nursing school, mag-duty sa psychiatric ward. Makikita mo kung gaano yung mind. The mind could be tonic-clonic. Isipin niya puno siya, hindi siya gagalaw. Alam ni Jonah yun. Puno siya. Talaga isipin niya puno siya. Yung mind is dictate sa kanya, sa katawan niya puno siya. Hindi mo siya magagalaw. If you force him to move, you could break his bones. The way to nourish that tonic-clonic na may illness sa tao is to just insert yung nutrients niya through the veins para mabuhay siya. Kundi mamamatay siya kasi inisip niya tao, ano siya, puno siya. Meron pa akong isang story doon na gumagapang yung patient. Ayaw niya maglakad. Tapos yung mga nurses tinatanong, oh, bakit gumagapang ka? Oh, wala akong paa. Nandun yung paa niya. Pero tiniisip niya wala siyang paa. So kami, kailangan namin pigilan yung tawa namin. Siyempre, ayun yung pinaniniwalaan niya, ma-offend mo siya. So ganun yung mind. 'Di ba? At the same time, one could be bipolar or could have many personalities. 'Di ba? The mind could say that. Of course, depende sa karma and other factors. But the mind, the enemy of the being the enemy, yung mind natin being our enemy, could give us that. The depression, the anxiety, the worries, 'di ba? Yung mga importanteng bagay, makakalimutan mo. Yung shopping list mo, pag nasa SM ka na, nakalimutan mo. Still the mind. So how many percentage the mind will be our enemy? How many percentage lang na best friend mo siya? Don't ang default system nga ng mind is enemy mo siya. Don't take care of the mind, magiging enemy mo siya kaagad. Sabi nga, idle mind is a devil's workshop. Pag di ka busy, ang dami mong isipin. Uy, sinabi sa akin ng ganito. Ito yung pagkakasabi nung mother-in-law ko. Parang kinikriticize, sinatasize niya ako. Sabi ng narinig ko sa kapitbahay, parang pinapakinggan ako nun. Ba't kaya ganito yung signal ng asawa ko sa akin? The mind could create a lot of stories. Could make you busy. This the devil's workshop. Pag di engage yung mind in a proper way. Diba? Kahit wala kang binagawa, busy-busy yung mind mo. It will never stop, just like a river. So, we have to decide, who do we listen? Our own mind or Krishna's instructions through the spiritual master? We should use the mind. We should be the master of the mind. That is the intelligence, higher than the mind. So again, we should have the spiritual intelligence, hindi lang material intelligence. So having that intelligence, you should choose which to follow, which instructions to follow. So have an experiment. Try mo i-follow yung mind mo versus try to follow Krishna's words through his instructions sa book and the spiritual teacher, and compare that life. Nakaka-enjoy kasi may freedom, may free will. Parang feeling natin may freedom tayo. But lahat ng bagay sa mundo may consequences. You do this, something will happen. You want this, you have to pay. You have to work for it. Yeah. You do this, sabi mo na free yung air. Pero yung based on sa mga collective karma natin, ginagawa natin, we're poisoning the air. Diba? Even the nature is giving us back yung karma natin. Could give us the miseries. Lindol. Yung mga wala tayong control, di ba? Typhoons. So, which instructions to follow? And having the instructions coming from the guru, Krishna, going to the guru, following that, making that your life and soul, that purpose of life, one could feel satisfaction kasi he's connected to Krishna, he's following Krishna's instructions. Our life is meant to serve, and if we are serving the right personality, which is Krishna, through the disciplic succession to the captain of the ship, our life will be in perfect pace. Of course, hindi siya perfect talaga kasi maraming challenges. Pero we are satisfied. Sa last question ng sages, tinanong ng sages kay Sutta Goswami, please tell us to whom the religious principles have, since Krishna, the absolute truth, the master of all mystic powers, has departed for his own abode, pag-alis sa material world, please tell us to whom the religious principles have now gone for shelter. Saan napupunta yung religious principles na yun kung wala na si Krishna in the presence of our eyes? So that will be discussed kasi si Krishna, lagi siya bumaba sa material world pag nawawala yung religious, yung dharma. Lagi niya i-establish or nagkapadala siya ng mga devotees niya, pre-devotees niya to establish. So paano nangyayari pag wala si Krishna? So it will be answered as well. But basically, it is being maintained by the Guru, Sadhu, and Sastra. And for us to learn, to follow, and to live our life spiritually. So we just ended the first chapter ng Srimad Bhagavatam. So in 1 week, nakaganito na tayo na book. So ayan yung marker. So maganda na yung chapter 2 kasi may mga answers si Sutta Goswami dun sa questions ng sages. At the same time, umiinit na yung flow ng usapan nila kasi natatapos na yung introduction nung alam mo yun 'pag nag-uusap wala na yung ligaw-ligaw, nagiging straight to the point na rin. So thank you very much. I pray and hope that we find the captain of our ship. So our sail sa material ocean habang nabubuhay tayo sa material ocean. You cannot neglect this body because this is the boat. You cannot escape. Di ka pwedeng tumalon sa dagat. You will not survive. So we have to take care of the boat. We have to have the captain of the ship. So we could really use the instructions of Krishna as the favorable wind. So please chant your rounds today. Finish reading your kota na kailangan mong basahin today. And be Krishna conscious. So maraming salamat for attending the session of Srimad Bhagavatam study, the Monk in the Middle podcast. Thank you very much. And we could transfer sa ating next class. So tuloy-tuloy yung charge natin this Sunday. I-welcome natin si Juan Prabhu by chatting sa chat box natin ng Hare Krishna. Yes. Sabi ni Ron, yung mga status in the Israel, malalaking tao. Yes, because before malalaki talaga sila. Maraming story dyan. We'll learn from that. Hare Krishna 1, thank you for attending. And Raki, get well soon. We miss you. Yan. And our Shamrasika Prabhu, my dear God brother. Hare Krishna. So next class will be in Guru Maharaj's room studying Srimad Bhagavatam in certain verse, different canto. So if you still have time, you can tune in there. I'll post yung room ni Guru Maharaj. Thank you very much, everyone. I'm your servant Radha Charandas, and see you again tomorrow for our Monk in the Middle podcast. Continuation ng Srimad Bhagavatam study natin. Hare Krishna. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Gaura Premanande. Hari Hari Bol. High five, everyone.